Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Kim with workhardtravelwell.com, and thanks for checking out my channel. Um, just making sure it just got an error message. So hopefully you guys can see me on Facebook, and I'm going live on my YouTube channel. So let me know where you're watching from. I'm in Atlanta. It's a little past 8:30 here in Atlanta, and I'm still on Pacific Standard Time a little bit. I was tired earlier, but now I have a lot of energy. If you don't know, if you've been following along, I just recently returned from a trip to Arizona. I visited Phoenix, Arizona, as well as Scottsdale, Arizona. So I wanted to talk to you about traveling to Arizona. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop any questions in the chat and I'll answer them. And also let me know where you're watching from. So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, I recently went to Phoenix and Scottsdale, and in the past I've visited Arizona. I've been to the Grand Canyon. I've also been to Antelope Canyon as well as Horseshoe Bend. So there's a lot to see in Arizona. You can't see all of those cities in one trip unless you're out there for at least a week or more. So let's talk about just the different logistics of everything, as well as things to do in all of the destinations or cities I just named. For this trip, I flew into Phoenix directly from Atlanta for a direct flight using Delta, and that was a little over 3 hours. And although they're on Mountain Standard Time, they don't observe daylight savings time, so Phoenix is technically 3 hours behind Atlanta right now. So it was very hot. I know I posted a question on the community tab of my YouTube channel, and I asked, have you considered going to visiting Arizona? And someone said, no, it's too hot. So it's definitely hot there. When I visited, it was like 89. And that was like the low of 89, and it got up to like the 93 one day I was there. So it's definitely something to consider, but the Grand Canyon alone is just something I've always wanted to visit. So going to Arizona and kind of enduring the heat makes it worth it. So let's talk about like Phoenix really quickly. So things to do in Phoenix. There are a few different things you can see in Phoenix. Of course, there is the Desert Botanical Garden. There's Camelback Mountain. It's just a lot of cool scenery out in Arizona. Hey, Ulysses Hill. Excuse me, Ulysses Hill says hello. Thanks for checking in. But yeah, there's just like a lot to do out there in Phoenix, and definitely the cool scenery. Definitely a photo opportunity if you're into that, especially at the Botanical Garden. There's like tons of like scenery, and then you can take picture with cactus and all that stuff. And then in Scottsdale, I stayed. I went to Scottsdale, which is like 20 minutes from Phoenix, and I was able to stay at the Canopy by Hilton. And I'll put a link to the video. It's not live on. It's gonna be on my Instagram page, because that's where the brand. I actually partner with the Canopy by Hilton brand to bring you guys a look inside of Canopy by Hilton in Scottsdale, Old Town. So I'm gonna drop this link really quickly so you can see. Check that out later, and it's also in the description of this video. But in Scottsdale, there is basically Scottsdale is like more like a luxury side of Phoenix. So it's about 20 minutes, and a lot of people like retire there. But I actually liked it, even though I think someone put in my the same person put like it's an older demographic there. But it was very like relaxed, laid back. The hotel was like in walking distance of Old Town. There was like shopping, restaurants, everything was there. So if you haven't thought about visiting Scottsdale, I would definitely recommend it, and pairing it with like a trip to Phoenix. So here's the link to the video I just posted, which is a tour of the hotel in Scottsdale. Okay, so that's Phoenix and Scottsdale. Some things that you can do in Scottsdale. I mentioned Old Town Scottsdale, which is like, looks like kind of like an old Western type feel to it. Maybe like Back to the Future feel. And there's like the aquarium. There's different things that you can do there. And then if you're in Phoenix, some people choose to do a tour of the Grand Canyon. I visited the Grand Canyon the first time I drove into Vegas, or I flew into Vegas and then drove to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is huge in the fact that there's different rims. It spreads out across the state. So, like the West Rim is closer to Las Vegas, which is where you see like the skywalk. There's a skywalk there where you can walk over the Grand Canyon. It's like a clear glass way. And then there's that's near Vegas. So if you're looking to do that, that's like an hour and a half from Vegas Drive. And then if you're wanting to go to the South Rim, which is what you see a lot of people taking pictures, and that's where the most popular spot is. That is closer to Flagstaff, and Flagstaff has an airport, but it's not going to be cheap to fly into. It's not going to be, if any, direct flights, unless maybe from somewhere in Arizona. But so Flagstaff would be the airport closest to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And then it's like an hour and a half from Flagstaff. And then also in that same kind of area is Horseshoe Bend. And Horseshoe Bend is what the photo is like. My cover photo that I have in this actual video is where I was at Horseshoe Bend. And let me actually show you guys. I was gonna make this like a little casual live, but I think it might help if you see like some of the pictures of Horseshoe Bend. So let me share my screen really quickly. But it's been a while since I've gone live, so I just wanted to make it as casual as possible. All right, let me know if you guys can see this. Let's see. But this is Horseshoe Bend here. Hold on. So this is Horseshoe Bend. And like I said, Flagstaff is going to be the closest airport. But if you're looking to do this whole thing via road trip, from Vegas is a good 4 hours. And from Phoenix, it's a good 3 to 4 hours to do this. So what I did when I did my road trip a few years back is I did a crazy road trip. I went from Las Vegas to the South Rim, which is what I talked about, which is the skywalk over the Grand Canyon. And then I drove from the South Rim to Flagstaff, stayed overnight because it was late, and then got up that next morning and drove to Antelope Canyon, as well as basically Horseshoe Bend, which is what you see. And then after Horseshoe Bend, drove back towards Flagstaff and stopped at the actual Grand Canyon. To get into the Grand Canyon, there is like a fee per car. I believe it's like between $20 and $30 per car. Or you could take a tour bus, and then that's all included in there. But in hindsight, I would definitely kind of split it up. I did this all in one day. And I got to see like the Grand Canyon at sunset. But I wish I could have like stayed longer because there's so much you can do there. There's like, you could do like a helicopter ride. I think you can do like a horseback ride in some parts of the Grand Canyon. So there's a lot to do there. I would recommend maybe using Flagstaff as your base like I did. So if you're coming from Phoenix or Las Vegas, you can do a like overnight stay in Flagstaff and then start start your day pretty early. So this is Horseshoe Bend, and let me know if you guys have heard of this, are interested in visiting some places in Arizona. Drop a comment and let me know if you have any questions. But just going back to what the person said on my community tab, as far as about like it's hot, it's like old people there, older demographic there. That's not gonna deter me from seeing the Grand Canyon. That's like one of the most popular, and also just something to see at least once, unless you're just not. I know some people might have like height, fear of heights and stuff like that. So if that's you, maybe the Grand Canyon isn't your thing, especially with like the skywalk and stuff. But I definitely, wouldn't let the heat and things deter me from it. You just have to know when to visit, the best times to visit, as well as, actually, surprisingly, the Grand Canyon gets cold, does have a winter. I can't say that about Phoenix, but the Grand Canyon definitely has snow at times. So you just have to know when the best time is to visit and things like that. Okay, so let me show you Antelope Canyon. And I have actually all this stuff like on my videos. I've posted videos, I have blog posts about it. And this is, let me go back to add this to the stream. This is from actually Visit Arizona. But like I said, I have my own videos and pictures. But I wanted to do something really quick as far as doing a live video. I usually do presentations and stuff like that. But I'm still kind of catching up from sleep from going to Arizona. I was there a few days and it's 3 hours behind, but for some reason that kind of threw me off. I'd be up at like 6 a.m. there, which was 9 a.m. my time, but I would be up pretty early, from anywhere from 5 to 6 a.m. So here's Antelope Canyon, which I was just talking about. But basically, if you've ever seen this on Instagram or anywhere, it's like little caves where you can go in, and the light hits it at a certain point in the day where you can get good shots like this. But yeah, so here's Antelope Canyon. And like I said, you can, there's also Lake Powell that's near there that you can see. But this is something that you can do from Vegas or either Phoenix. How is the cost for the Grand Canyon trip? So Ulysses just asked that. So basically, when I did this whole thing, I used Southwest points to get out there from Atlanta. And so the flight was basically like $11.20 because I used my points. At the time, points redemptions were very cheap. You could probably still do that, but I flew into Vegas, so the flight was covered by points. And then I used the rental car. I used Dollar. Dollar is like basically a subsidiary of Hertz. They're basically the same company, but Dollar tends to have cheaper rates. And the rental car was cheap. It was like less than $200. Then you have to factor in gas. So you're looking at, it just depends. If you're able to use points, I would encourage that, if you're able to use those points. But then a flight, if you're not able to get points, I'm not sure where you're based, but from the East Coast, my flight this time around was around $300 and something. So you have to factor in, $300 something for maybe a flight, depending on where you're flying from. The rental car, or you could do a tour. The tours, if you don't want to worry about doing a road trip, because I'm not going to lie, the roads in Arizona were scary as heck. There's not a lot of street lights, even on the highway. At the time that I visited, they had like fires. So the first time around was like in May. So hot fires, there's fire warnings. So it was like very smog on the highway. Some of those areas were like over like massively tall bridges, and also just sometimes I had to use the GPS like that came with the car because there was no phone service. So road trip, might not be for everyone, but it was definitely an experience I won't forget. But if you're into doing like a tour, you can expect anywhere from like 100 to 300, depending on where you're coming from. If you're coming from Vegas or Phoenix to go to the Grand Canyon. So those are just some things to consider when you're booking like a Grand Canyon trip. Some of the tours include like a stop in Sedona, which is like known for wine tours and things like that. So it depends on what you want to see. I kind of pieced together my own tour. Like I said, I went to South Rim and the West Rim of the Grand Canyon. That's not very typical to do. It's usually one or the other. Like I said, there's the one rim that's closer to Vegas. So if you're just there for a short time, so those things can add up. To get into like the skywalk, I believe it was like $50 or so. So you just have to know what you want to do, but it definitely is a feasible trip. You just have to, like I said, know what you want to do, and then consider if you're gonna basically do your own tour or you're gonna book a tour. So hopefully that answers your question. Sorry I don't have like a definite number, but I kind of broke down what the things are that they what they are and what they cost. Okay, so talked about Grand Canyon, talked about Antelope Canyon, talked about Horseshoe Bend, but then and then I talked about Phoenix and Scottsdale. So those are just a few of the cities in Arizona that most people visit. And like I said, there's information in my description. I'd love for you to check out the hotel link that I included. That's basically where I stayed in Scottsdale, and I was able to partner with that hotel. So definitely check it out. It's a very nice hotel. Let me see if I don't know if you've seen my Instagram. Let me show this to you guys. But this is my Instagram. But here is like, and I want you to check out the video. I put the link in the comments. But like here is just a look. Let me see if I can zoom in because this is kind of small. But make sure you check out my Instagram because it's a lot easier to see there. But here is the hotel. And this is just a brief look. The video is what shows you more inside of it. Let's see if I have any more questions. Okay, cool. So I answered Ulysses. I hope I'm saying your name right. Sorry about that question. Okay, so this is like the inside of the hotel room. This is like the neighborhood. So like I mentioned, Scottsdale is basically and this hotel is in Scottsdale Old Town, and it's like very scenic. There's shopping, as you can see. This is the hotel right here that you can see, and then this is the area that the hotel is in. That's kind of like just a view from the room where you can see the mountains. And here is the rooftop bar that was on top of the hotel. Have you guys ever heard of Canopy by Hilton? Like, it's basically like I was saying earlier, it's a modern boutique hotel. So if you're like a Hilton Honors member, you can use points there. I'm a Gold member, so I was able to basically get bonus points. I could choose between getting bonus points or a daily credit towards food. So it was like $24 of credit towards the food. And I was eating there anyway because the food was really good. They had one restaurant downstairs, and then they had this rooftop bar that also served food. And That's just, a picture of the food. And that's me kind of chilling in the evening. That's mostly what I was doing in the evening, actually working on content. And I was going to bed really early there. Like I said, I'm still trying to catch up on my. That 3 hours really threw me off. Um, but yeah, that's just a look into it. But I dropped the link here if you go in the chat, and it's in the description of this video to see the tour. Definitely, I appreciate it if you guys check that video out, and also like either leave a comment or a question. That would be very helpful. Let's see, we have more checking in. I see Primping Ain't Easy TV. What's up? Thanks for checking in. Okay, and let's see. I never heard of Canopy before, but it looks really nice. Yeah. So, I'm glad like more people are learning about it. That was part of like my partnership with Canopy by Hilton, making sure that you guys know about the brand, because people maybe just think about the overall Hilton brand, but like I said, Canopy by Hilton is the boutique brand under Hilton. And so check that out. I think I have went over most of traveling to Arizona. Let me know if you have any questions about like traveling to Arizona. I've been to two rims within the Grand Canyon, as well as, like I said earlier, Horseshoe Bend, Antelope Canyon, Phoenix, and Phoenix and Scottsdale. The only one I haven't been to, like that's a big popular one, is Sedona, which is what I mentioned is for wine tours. So let me know if you have any questions. I've included information on some like related videos and blog posts that I have about traveling to Arizona. I'm going to try to go live more often. I've been a little behind with travels. So I'm back in Atlanta and able to just do more live videos. And I'll try to go live more on my trips, but this last trip was kind of like packed heavy with some things I were trying to accomplish during the trip. Let's see. I don't think I have any more questions. If you got any value from this video, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/KimH. And I also have an apparel store as well. And a freebie is in my description on like all the trip planning tools that I use and the discounts that I use. So, like I mentioned earlier, when I was asked about the cost of the trip, like the first time I went to Arizona, the flight was only $11.20 because of the credit card that I used that I was able to get points on. So I have all the discounts. When people ask me, how are you able to travel so much? That is because I use discounts, I use points, I use different websites to help me get the cost down so that I'm able to travel as much as possible during my PTO. So the link is in the description to get that free, you heard it, free. Yeah, Prim says, oh wow, yeah. So a lot of DMs that I receive are like questions about which websites to use, how do I find cheap flights, and I've compiled it in such a neat PDF so that you can visit all the sites that I use. Like it's basically everything that I use. And I've done a trip planning video too, and that's linked in that PDF so that you can see what's behind the brains of when I plan these trips out and how I'm able to see all these different destinations when I go on a trip. So thanks for checking out this video or my live. If you're on Facebook, make sure you like my Facebook page. And when you're on, if you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and turn on the bell for notifications. I appreciate you guys for like always watching my content and also just your support. I really appreciate it. So Points Blank Travel, what's up? You guys got to check out his channel. Like he talks about credit cards and points. Basically, you see his name, Points Blank Travel. Rod, he's a really dope YouTuber. Check out his channel. He talks about credit cards and points, and that's how you're able to travel a lot, is when you can use these points to get the cost of the trip down. It looks like he's about to go live, so I'm ending soon. I'm gonna hop on his live, but basically you get the points down, or you get the use the points to get your cost of your trip down. And he talks about it, the different credit cards, and stuff like that. And people are like, some people may be intimidated by credit cards, but he talks about like the ways that you can make sure that you're, utilizing your credit card history and finance and all of that good stuff right, and how to apply for those credit cards so you're not, getting denied and stuff like that. So definitely check out his channel. He's about to go live in a few moments. And I appreciate you for stopping by, Rod. Okay. And Prim is saying, what's up to Rod at Points Blank Travel. But yeah, so thank you guys for checking, and definitely check out Primpin' Ain't Easy TV. You see she has the YouTube button, so that is another great YouTuber you need to check out. So I definitely appreciate it. The community, the YouTubers for checking me out. You guys for following and subscribing to this channel. And thanks for taking out time out of your weekend. I hope you guys have an awesome week. I'll be posting some more videos and let you know when I'm going live next time. And have a great evening. Until next time. Bye.